In this Chapter 9 video segment, I'd like to show you how to link to a data source and then use data controls in ASP.NET. All of this is available right through the Expression Web 4 user interface, and it's surprisingly easy to do. So let's get started. In this segment, we're working with Chapter 9. That's adding functionality with ASP.NET and AJAX. So to start with, what we need is an ASP.NET page. And we made one in the previous video segment that I forgot to delete. So let's just reuse that. Here it is, master page test. And we'll just reuse this for speed. So what we want to do is first grab all this content inside here because we don't need it. It's just layout text to make it a little bit easier for you. Let's get rid of that. Let's type contact our people. We're going to highlight that and create an H1. Come down a line and let's just reset our workspace because we've done a few exercises and it's gotten a little bit messed up. So let's close the HTML group in the toolbox. And what we're looking for comes right here from the ASP.NET Control toolbox. And we would like to grab data and a grid view. There are plenty of things in here, and we could do a whole book just on the stack of controls in this segment. So let's grab the grid view and we'll drop it in. Now when it shows up in the page, the first thing we need to do is choose a data source. So let's do that. New data source. We're going to use an Access database in this case, and when we click OK, we'll get prompted to browse for it. And this Access database is included in the sample site files here. Oh, here it is. Let's use this one. And then we'll say next. Now, this is an interesting part of the wizard. So what we'll do is we're going to specify the columns, and we want first name, last name, email address, phone, and job title. And then we'll click next. And this is the test query. So basically, you've created a select statement, and this is a SQL statement to select the first name, last name, blah, blah, blah. We test the query, and we can see that it's pretty much showing what we asked for. So we'll click Finish. We'll save this page. And then we'll preview it in a browser. And so there we are. There's the table. It's a little bit unformatted. When we go back to Expression Web, we're going to use a few simple steps to format this appropriately. And it'll actually look fairly nice when we're done. And the neat thing is, if that Access database changes, this list of people that could be contacted will automatically update. So let's return to Expression Web. And we'll take care of customizing this. And so like with the data view that we put in an HTML page, this little arrow will bring up a grid view tasks menu. And so what we want to do is edit columns. We're going to choose first name, and in header text, first and then name. Choose last name. Column 1, we're going to change that to email. Business phone, we'll change to just phone. And as you can see, there's quite a bit of customization that's available, and we're just touching on the basics. And then title. Let's see, first name, last name. Let's move job title up. And then we'll click OK. Let's save this page. And then with this whole grid view selected, and you can always just click the block tag selector here. Notice over in this tag properties pane, while we can easily modify HTML tags, the neat thing is we can actually modify the HTML that this ASP.NET component outputs. So we're going to come down and look for width. And we'll give it 700 pixels. And that makes it fill out across the page. And we can individually select these column rows and adjust them and so on and so forth. Let's save this and preview it and see what we have. And so that's filled out the page. Our column headers are changed. Let's see what else we can do. Enable paging, enable sorting, and then we can save it once more, throw it back out to the browser, and now you can see that we've got 3 pages instead of a big long table. And if we wanted to, we can sort by last name. It goes from Anderson to Z, or we can sort by phone number, which is ridiculous because it's all 123 area code, and come back to the first name sort, jump between pages, and this is all taken care of for you by the ASP.NET control that you dropped from here and the simple modifications that you made here in the grid view tasks. And that's pretty much all there is to it. Still, with the added benefit of being able to use a new database file or an updated database file and know that you don't have to do no work whatsoever on the page, and it'll automatically update the pages that your viewer will see based on the content of that Microsoft Access database file. So there you go. There's using the data grid, a grid view, and a data source. The next ASP.NET control we're going to use is the Add Rotator, and I chose it because it's real easy to use. It's really visual because it's a picture on the face of the page, and it also gets its content from an XML file, which you can easily edit even within Expression Web. You don't need Excel or Access or any of that. So here's what we'll do. Instead of putting it in the page like we did here for the contact list, I would like to put it in the master page. So we'll click this to open up the master page. And then we're going to come down to here and get our bearings. And what we can see is I've got this Facebook page badge selected. Then we'll go up to this quick tag selector and see what we've got. Well, we have the whole div, and we've got this paragraph. So let's get rid of it. And then let's grab this W3C thing, and that looks like that is in a paragraph as well. And let's get rid of that. So our next step is to get ourselves some space in here. And to do it, we'll just set our insertion point in the Contact Us list item hyperlink. And we don't want another list item, so we'll take a paragraph. Next thing, we'll come to Add Rotator. And since our insertion point is focused here, we can always double click it. And there's the Add Rotator. And similar to the other data sources and so on and so forth, we have this Add Rotator tasks. We can make it disappear or reappear. First step, we need a data source file. We're going to choose XML and then click OK. We're going to browse, into the Sites Files folder and take banners.xml. The transform file is if you're going to use XLS. For our purposes, this is all we need. We'll close it, save it, come back to this page because you can't preview the master. You have to preview the page it's attached to. And in the design interface, you can see that it's here. We can improve the look of that if you wish to, but for this test, we'll just throw it to a browser. And the page spins up, and you can see that it's an image with a link, as you can see when I mouse over it. But each time the page is refreshed, it's a different image. That might not look different, but it's a different box. So let's refresh it a few times. And you can tell that the page fully refreshes because it flashes in the browser. And so that's the path to the Ad Rotator. Let's take a quick look at where it's getting its information from. So we'll close this, open the Files folder, and find our banners.xml file. And it opens right up in Expression Web. So let's say we wanted to add. Well, we could copy this node from add to add, Control C, come down one more, and paste it in. If you're worried that you've misindented or improperly indented, you could always choose Reformat XML, and it tightens it all right back up for you. So we'll do web, I believe it's Studio. And then in each of these XML nodes, we can have a link, alt text over the image, the height and the width of the image, keywords, and impressions. And in the impressions node, you can have one show up more than the other and weight each node differently. So you can have more of one than you do of the other. I just want to go into the images and make sure that I'm right. Unfortunately, I prefixed them all with web dash, so they're going to be at the end of the list. Banner. Media banner. Oh, I see. Okay, so let's just make sure that it's Studio dash banner. Studio dash banner, that's what we want. So, Studio dash banner. And I'm going to assume that the key is Studio. For this, just links to Microsoft's site, no big deal. Let's save it. And now let's go back to our test page, open it in a browser, roll down, and let's see if we can find the Studio. Design. There it is. There's the Studio link. Let's see if my link was correct. Yeah, Web Studio Overview. Okay, so that's great. That worked exactly as we expected it to. When we come back, what we're going to do is use a little bit of Ajax that comes right out of that ASP.NET Tools box, and we're going to make this Ad Rotator refresh itself without the user having to refresh the page or navigate to another page. So at a certain interval, this will just refresh within the page without refreshing the whole page. And that's called Ajax, and that's what we're going to look at next. In this final segment, we're going to take the ASP.NET Ad Rotator, and with using the components in the Ajax component of the toolbox, we will make it refresh without refreshing the whole page. So let's go to the main master. We're going to grab this so we can see it easy and set our cursor inside of that paragraph tag. The first thing that we need is a script manager, and we can just double click it. The next thing that we need is a timer control, so we'll double click that. We'll allow this. Basically what it's saying is that it needs the ASP.NET Framework version 3.5 or later, and prompts you to add to allow Expression Web to add a web config. So we'll just say yes. Now let's just save and then reopen this page because I can see that it got pushed out of whack a little bit. So we'll close it and then we'll reopen it. Just easier visually. We could have worked in code. Now, select the timer and then you can see interval here in the tag properties. And again, these tag properties are not just for HTML tags, but for ASP.NET tags. So we're going to change that from 6,000 millis, which is a minute, 60,000 to 1,000, much faster. And then what we're going to do for the next step is grab that add rotator in the design pane and cut it. Then we're going to put an update panel. Then our next step is to paste the add rotator back inside of the update panel. Now, what we need to do next is manipulate this a little bit so that we can have the timer and the script manager tell this update panel when it needs to update. And so we're going to handle that next. Make sure that the update panel is selected, and then in the tag properties what we want to do is triggers. And we'll click that and it'll bring up the triggers. We'll add one and it's async postback. And what we want to do is timer 1, event name, tick. And that's just the passage of time. And you can see as we made these selections here, it added it to the members. Now we'll click OK. Save our page. Now this is the master page. So then we'll come back here to our test page and we'll preview it in a browser. Close that out. And then when the page loads, we'll open it up. And we'll see if this refreshes. And there you go. This is changing not just the picture, but the link. Watch in the bottom segment of the screen where you can see Key Studio, Key Design. And so this is updating automatically on the page without refreshing all the rest of the page. And so that's pretty neat for not having to do any kind of serious ASP.NET code. It's all available right here in the ASP.NET Control segment of the Toolbox panel. So basically, we took a standard control, the add rotator, then we went into our Ajax group and used a few of these items to create that object. And that's a lot of yield for very little coding. And so I hope you enjoyed that segment.